the pandemic hit. And Life School was born out of the challenges of homeschooling, because there are challenges also. When you homeschool your children, you will come through challenges. So we thought it was good to have a platform where we can come together and then give them the best of both worlds, not the pressures of the regular school, but a place where we can share as parents, and the children can have a portal to get together, to meet, to create, to have programs that usually happens otherwise. Or because we all are homeschooling in individual areas, we don't have communities. So we wanted to build up communities where all of us can meet up and have these challenges addressed. So that's where Life School was born. It was out of the simple challenges all of us faced. Most parents who go through the journey of homeschooling will face challenges. And this was the place that we decided that some of them could be addressed at least. So Life School conducted regional and national, mostly formation programs, for especially because we're all one of the major reasons that we decided to homeschool our children is because of the challenges that we are facing in giving them the right personality, the right thought process, the right thinking, even about spirituality in today's day and age. So we had formation programs. We had a Life Odyssey in Bangalore, and we had another national homeschoolers meet, again happened in Bangalore. We had one in Delhi, another formation program. Otherwise, we have neighborhood homeschoolers were getting together. So there are other programs also that are happening, and it also provides a platform where, especially when it comes to education, in the homeschoolers realm, there are only two places you can give your exams. One is the NIOS platform or the IGCSE platform. So Life School is tied up with an IGCSE school in Bangalore, and it provides a platform for them to write as students from that school. You only have to give the 10th boards when you're doing the homeschooling. You don't have to give the first, second, third. Those exams don't exist as a mandatory thing. The only mandatory exams are for the 10th boards. And there are two main streams. One is NIOS and the other one is IGCSE. For IGCSE, we are tied up with a school in Bangalore, international school in Bangalore. And they take Life Schoolers or people registered or children registered with Life School as their own students. And when they come out, their certificates state that they are from that school. A regular student. Yeah. So some of the things that Life School is doing.
Okay, thank you so much, Joby and Ramya. Thank you very much. Without, we're not going to delay any longer. I'm going to invite Adele Pereira from Mumbai to take us through this presentation. And before that, are we going to do the poll?
Yes, hi everyone. So we are unable to find the poll option right now, so I need you to help me. Firstly, I want to introduce the two very, very important people in my life. That is my wonderful, precious daughter, Esther, and my son, Lucas, that have made this journey so worthwhile. So we want to know a little bit about you, and so that we can address you more specifically. So if you can just show your hands in the chat, or your actual hand or the chat hand, raise your hand if you are completely new to homeschooling. You have no idea what this is about, but you would really like to know more about it. And Giselle will do a quick count. Okay, Giselle, please, if you can. Oh, it's showing.
You can repeat the question again.
Yes, if you are completely new to homeschooling and you would like to know what this is about, please raise your hand, the Zoom hand, so that it gives us the count so we know how many people are completely new to this. Yes, thank you. So around 19 people have raised their hands. Thank you. Okay, if you have heard about homeschooling, you have some idea what it is, but you would like to understand it better, those who have raised your hand first, put your hand down. And those who have heard about homeschooling, you have some idea, but you would like to get to know something better, can you please raise your hand? there are still around 13 hands raised. So I'm assuming this is the answer to that question. Okay, so we have maybe say around 1/3 in each category. Okay, the next question is, if you're from Bombay, can you please raise your hands? Just so we know how to connect, like Ramya mentioned, we want to form community. We want to be able to help each other. If you're from Bombay, can you please raise your hands? Okay, great. So Bombay people, put your hands down. If you're from Bangalore, can you please raise your hands?
Those of us who don't know how to use the emojis, go to reactions and you'll find it there.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you. If you're from any other place, if you could mention that in the chat, one of us will just take note of that and we'll be able to connect. So what we really want to do is just explore something new and build community, help us to connect with each other and help each other, because there really are no experts in this field. Okay, we are all learning together. I love being a lifelong learner, and so I'm also learning with you. So please feel free to raise up any questions, any doubts. If we can't finish addressing everybody's questions in this time frame, we will do it one-on-one via phone calls or chats. Okay, so your questions will be answered. Just know that I'm not coming at this from an expert point of view. I'm coming at this from the point of view of somebody who is on the journey, learning along with my family. So I just like to share a few things with you in the next 40 minutes or so. Please, I welcome everybody with babies and food and whatever else is going on in your family. Don't worry at all. We love families. We love children. So don't feel shy. Let them come. Let them be part of it. As long as the audios are not interrupting anyone, we are very happy to have all of you and your whole family. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, Atal, you can see this.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so I want to introduce myself primarily to just share with you where I'm coming from. My corest identity is being a child of God. That's who I am. That's how I make every decision from that relationship. In addition to that, my husband and I have been married for more than 24 years. This is our 25th year together. I'm a mother for the last 11 and a half years, and we've been homeschooling for the last 5 years. My husband and I have been caregivers for 6 of our elders over the last 25 years. Currently, we are caregiving for my grandmother who has dementia. So she's also part of our family and our homeschooling system. I used to work with Child Rights and Youth. I used to work with children, teachers, and parents in schools across different socioeconomic strata. So I work with schools that are BMC schools, schools that are middle-class convent kind of schools, schools that are very elitist schools, and I've seen the school system from the inside. Okay, I just want to say off the bat, I have nothing against schools or teachers. I have great respect for teachers, but what I'm going to share with you is going to be some of the challenges in the system. My ministry experiences with the Family Commission, with evangelization, and with youth. I really want to serve God in everything I do. So what I'm going to cover in this presentation is basically the why. Okay, to make any big decision, we must be sure of the why. Why are we making this decision? If we know why, the what, the how, the when, everything will fall in place. But if you don't know why you're doing something, at every step you will be falling or wondering what is happening. So if you're sending your child to school right now, or if you're thinking of pulling your child out, or if you're already homeschooling, whatever it is, ask yourself why you have made that decision, or why you are working with that decision. What is the reason? So I want to take you to some few reasons that I have thought of. It may be your reasons, it may be other reasons. I'm just putting it out there for anyone who wants to think like that. Okay, so we're going to look at this question from 3 perspectives. the normal perspective, what you can see normally around us, the worldly perspective, and the godly perspective. So in the normal perspective, why do children go to school? Right? Why do people send children to school? Our normal understanding is that everybody goes to school. That's the norm. That's the regular thing. Everybody goes to school. But if you look at it, everybody actually means only children. It does not mean adults. After a certain age, after 14, 15, teenagers are not welcomed into school. It does not mean somebody who's 40, 50 years old, who never got a chance to educate themselves, who can now go back to school. So everybody does not go to school. It also does not mean the 40 to 50% of Indian children who do not get to go to school. Okay, most of our children in India do not get to go to school. So everybody in India does not go to school. The second is the worldly perspective. A lot of us face this pressure. This is the understanding we grew up with. So this is what we face. Everybody who I know goes to school, right? Everybody in my church, in my parish, in my building, in my family, everybody goes to school. So I have to keep up with those people and send my child to the kind of school that the others are going to. Everybody is geared towards the 10th standard, the board exams, so that they can get the best marks, get into the best college, and have the best job, right? And best by this does not really mean quality or a subject of their choice or their passion, but our understanding as a culture, as a worldly culture, is best means the richest. Getting into the best college means the richest college. Getting the best job means the job that makes the most money. Right? So that is a very worldly understanding of what is quality education, or what is good, or what is best. Then if I pay the school lots of money, that means they are doing an excellent job. Because I am paying them that much money. So that means they are doing such a wonderful job. I would ask you to look at any school in your neighborhood, any really elite school in your neighborhood, and just go there as a complete stranger. Ask the watchman or the Gurkha, the security, that if you want to apply for a job there, a teaching position, what is the form or what is the criteria? Okay, I think that you will be surprised to see what are the criteria actually to recruit teachers in private schools. Because I know people who have absolutely no background in education who are teaching in private schools. So find out for yourself. That may be true for my locality, maybe not be true for your locality. So find out for yourself what kind of criteria do they have to recruit anybody in that school as a teacher. Okay, and the most common worldly perspective that we hear again and again in the world is, if you are a parent and not a qualified teacher, you cannot educate your own child. Okay, if you are a parent but you're not a teacher, you have not studied B.Ed, you don't have any background in education, you cannot educate your child. That's the worldly perspective that we hear of. Now we're going to look at the godly perspective of looking at this. The first question I want you to think about is, you don't have to answer me right now, you won't know the answer immediately. Just write down these questions and think about it with yourself, with the Lord, with your spouse. Okay, to whom did God entrust this child of mine? To whom? Okay, to me, to my husband. Are God's goals for my child being met in this school that I put my child in? God has certain plans for my child, certain goals for my child when He created my child. Are His goals being met? Is school going to prepare my child for eternity? Is school going to prepare my child for his or her vocation? Married life, religious life, single life. Is school going to prepare my child for his or her God-given mission? Why has God created my child? What's the purpose of my child's life on this earth? There are so many children already. Why this child? Is the school system the best use of my child's time? That is his entire childhood. Is the school system the best use of my child's entire childhood? Is the school system the best beneficiary of our money? The money that you are paying the school, is that school the best beneficiary of that money? I would say if you find a school for which you can say yes to most of these questions, then please enroll your child in that school. But why am I bringing religion or faith or God's purposes into school education at all? What's the point? If you look at, if you look at this book, this is a dictionary, right? This is the cover page and this is the dictionary. Our entire life on earth is just the cover page. It's nice hardbound with the words written on it. Our entire life on earth is just the cover page. Our eternal life is so much longer than this 60 to 80 years we'll spend here. Okay? The world teaches us to invest 99% of our time into our children's cover page and 1% of our time into what will be 99% of their life, their eternal life. So if you put 99% of your time to get this 1% right, what happens to this 99% of their life? Where are you going to get the time and the energy and the money and the attention and their time to invest into their eternal life? How is that going to happen? So that is why I am sharing this whole presentation from a Catholic point of view, because we are concerned about our children's eternal life. We are concerned about what happens for all eternity, not just the next 80 years. So we are going to look at what the Catholic Church teaches us about being parents. Okay, why are we parents? God gave us these children, but we are Catholic parents. We want to do right by them, by the vows we took at their baptism. So we have to understand what the Catholic Church is teaching us about being Catholic parents. So these are CCC Catechism of the Catholic Church paragraphs, numbers 2223 to 2226. You can make a note of them and look them up for yourself. Parents have the first responsibility for the education of their children. They bear witness to this responsibility first by creating a home where tenderness, forgiveness, respect, fidelity, and disinterested service rule. It's our job first. Whatever else you employ, nannies, grandparents, school, whatever else, is secondary to our role. It's our job to create a home. A home doesn't happen automatically. Just because you have a house with 4 walls doesn't mean you have a home. We have to create that home. And what kind of home? Tenderness, forgiveness, respect, fidelity, and disinterested service, which means I'm serving someone without expecting anything in return, which is completely contradictory to what the world will teach us, to serve someone, to get a certificate, to get marks, to get qualified for a certain college thing or whatever. Okay, we are supposed to teach our children disinterested service. The home is well suited for education in the virtues and requires an apprenticeship. If our children are going to be apprentices, who is going to be the master or the expert taking them under their wings? Who is that person supposed to be? It's supposed to be me. It's supposed to be me and my husband. Okay, and what are we supposed to train them in? Geography, history? No. Self-denial. Deny yourself, Jesus said. Sound judgment, having a sound mind, using the mind of Christ, the wisdom of Christ, and self-mastery, knowing how to control ourselves, not other people. All these are the preconditions of true freedom, being able to choose the right over the wrong. Not freedom as in I'll do whatever I feel like, but true freedom. Only with self-denial, sound judgment, and self-mastery can we have true freedom and live an abundant life. So the church teaches us that parents should teach their children to subordinate the material and instinctual dimensions, put it lower than interior and spiritual ones. We have a grave responsibility to give a good example to our children. They have to see us in our daily life, how we operate. For that, we need time together for them to see a consistent example from us. By knowing how to acknowledge our own failings to our children, we will be able to better guide and correct them. It's not that parents are perfect, it's that we are making mistakes and we show our children how we struggle with our mistakes and how we grow in virtue and holiness. That is what they will learn from our example, the struggle. Okay. Then the home is the natural environment for initiating a human being into solidarity and communal responsibilities. So many people ask about homeschooling, and then what happens to socialization? How will they understand how to get along in society? The church teaches us that the home is that place where human beings learn solidarity and communal responsibilities. So we shouldn't be asking children when they are badly behaved, what school do you go to? Which school do you go to? The school is not responsible for our child's behavior and values and how they function in society. We are responsible. We should be teaching our children to avoid the compromising and degrading influences which threaten all our society, irrespective of where we live. Through the grace of the sacrament of marriage, we parents, the day you said I do to your spouse, even before you had children on your mind, God gave us the grace on that day to receive the responsibility and privilege of evangelizing our children, of bringing Jesus to them. We can initiate our children at an early age into the mysteries of our faith. We are the first heralds, the first messengers to our children. We should associate them from their tenderest years with the life of the church. A wholesome family life can foster interior dispositions. The inner life is something nobody can teach our children except us. And show them how to have a genuine preparation for a living faith. And this will carry them throughout their life, not the 80 years on this earth, throughout their life, which is a long eternity. Education in the faith by us, our parents, we the parents, begins in the child's earliest years. So education doesn't begin at age 6 when the child can read and write. Education begins right in the beginning. This already happens when children see us, how we help each other, how we grow in faith, what is the witness of our daily life? Is our practice in keeping with what we say? Children will not follow what we say. Children will follow what they see us doing. So our witness, the way we actually live our lives, has the greatest impact on our children's formation. And for them to see that, they need to be with us and we need to be with them. Family catechesis accompanies and precedes, accompanies and enriches other forms of instruments in the faith. So don't put the burden of catechesis on somebody else. It is our responsibility. First us. We will teach them how to live the faith. Parents have the mission of teaching children to pray and to discover their vocation as children of God. So many of us ask children, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the answer we're expecting is doctor, engineer, lawyer, teacher. Maybe ever have on the horizon, I want to be a wife, I want to be a mother, I want to be a nun. Have you ever heard an urban Catholic girl ever saying, I want to be a nun? It is so rare because we do not talk about vocation as a goal, as something to be discovered and explored. It is not top of our mind when we are talking about our children's education. And the parish is that Eucharistic community, the heart of the liturgical life, a place for catechesis for children and parents. But the responsibility is ours. We cannot avoid it. We cannot throw it on somebody else's shoulders. It is our responsibility because God gave these children to us. So why is all this important in the first place? We are not citizens of India. You might have an Indian passport, but we all are citizens of heaven. Heaven is our home. God is our father. I am his daughter. We are citizens of heaven. We are just sent as ambassadors on earth for a temporary posting. I am not going to be here in Borivali, Mumbai for all my life. It's a temporary posting. I live in heaven. That's my home. And to be able to help more people to get there to heaven. This earthly life is our mission posting. This earthly life, the entire life from conception to the time we die, is our mission posting. It's not our final destination. After this life ends is when the real amazing life starts. Okay, so we are here temporarily. We are not supposed to get attached to this place. So we want to train our children to reach heaven, to serve others so that they go to heaven too. Jesus said, the greatest among you is a one who is a servant of all. Do we teach our children to serve? Do we tell our children, I want you to be the best servant? Is that the kind of language we use? No, because the world thinks of servant as something extremely derogatory. Servant is the last thing you want to be in any field. Our goal is to go through this earth in whatever path God decides is best for them to meet goals 1 and 2. So what we do for their earthly formation is just one very small part of their eternal life and their eternal formation. The question we really have to think about is, as Catholic parents, can we really afford to leave God out of our children's education? Can we afford that risk of investing time in so much else that is going to last them only the next 80 years? And leave God out of the picture. Okay, so I'll share with you briefly our journey. We received both our children through adoption. After years of the incurable endometriosis, I had endometriosis for 24 years, and Jesus healed me miraculously after we adopted both our babies. We said no to IVF and we said yes to Jesus. Whatever he wanted for us, even if he wanted no children, whatever he wanted is what we wanted. So we really want to give our children the best of what God has to give them, because our children are a gift to us. We waited 12 and a half years for them. We want to make the best of that gift. We want to return that gift with solid dividends to God. Even before we had children on the horizon, I had researched, as part of my work, I had researched 18 schools in my area. I went and stood outside the schools and I spoke to the watchmen, who were very happy to chat with me, and I just asked them simple questions like, how many divisions are there in the class? Is it a co-ed school? Where do the children who go to the school live? So he would point to this basti or that building, or they come from this area. And I learned so much about every school from the watchman without going inside. But the biggest advertisement of each school were the children coming out. So I used to go and stand at the gate at the time where the secondary school students left. And I used to be just one auntie standing on the road. And I used to listen, overhear their conversations. What were they talking about? What was their body language? Were they thrilled to get out of school and go home? Were they frustrated and angry with the teachers and what happened that day? Were they using bad words in their language? Were they teasing each other, pulling each other down? What was the body language of the children coming out? And every school I looked at those kids and I said, I don't want my kids to be like that. I don't want my kids to be like that. Even before I had children, I had that godly desire to give them something spectacular, much more than these schools could give them. None of these schools seemed good enough for our children, even before they were there, before our children existed. Okay, and we tried a convent school. Finally, when we had our babies, we tried a convent school for Esther, even though it was far away, because it had a smaller class size. So they had only 30 children instead of the convent school close by, which had 60 children. So she went to school from junior KG to first grade. That's 3 years. And we tried a Parsi minority school for Lucas for 2 years, because none of the Catholic schools for boys in our area was okay by our standard. Okay, so when I'm saying this, I don't want to condemn anyone. I don't want to put down anyone and the work they're doing and the labors that they are going through. I'm just sharing with you that we already had a vision and an understanding of what God is giving us, and that sense of responsibility that we do not want to compromise on our children's souls for anything to do with the world. After these few years of Esther going to school, we just knew, we were deeply convicted that we are just pushing our children into the rat race, because it seems like there is no other option. We had never heard of homeschooling till then. Even though I worked in the education sector, I had never heard of homeschooling. So it seemed like there is no other option. So within the schools that are there where we live, we just have to find the best one possible and make do with that, because there is no other option. What am I going to do? Not send my child to school? I can't do that, right? Today's reading, if you're following Bible in a year, today's reading is 1 Samuel chapter 14, where Jonathan, the situation is that the Philistines are standing in opposition to the Israelites. Saul is the king, and they have no weapons. They have nobody to sharpen the weapons. The people are scared. Some of them have hidden in caves. Some of them have gone over to the Philistine side. And Saul and Jonathan are camped with a few people figuring out what to do. And Jonathan takes this leap of faith. He goes with one armor bearer across the hill to the Philistine side, and they make a plan with God. It's not clear whether they have prayed and discerned that or just like impromptu, but they make a plan with God that if we go down and the Philistines call us to themselves, then we will say God has given them into our hands. And if they say, no, you wait there, I'll come down, then we have to run away. Okay, like so foolhardy it seems. And it seems clear to them that God has given the Philistines into their hands. Just Jonathan and his armor bearer. And the armor bearer says, whatever is your mind, I will be with you. And they both go like fools with two people against the whole army of the Philistines. And they kill 20 Philistines in that one skirmish. And then Saul from afar is seeing the battle, and he's realizing somebody has gone from my army, but I don't know who. They take a roll count and he finds it's his own son. So he cannot now escape the situation. So he has to send whoever's there, and the people come out of the caves. They come back from the side of the Philistines, and they all fight together and they win the war. Why? Because just one Jonathan and one faithful armor bearer decided कि अभी बस हो गया, इधर रुक रहे हम लोग परेशान हो गए, let's do something. Okay, and they took that entry. Now this is, I did not make up. This is today's reading, if you're following Bible in here. So we thought there was no option, but then we realized, okay, there is an option. We just don't know what it is. And it seems completely unreal and crazy and undoable, but there is an option. The option for us that we found was to homeschool. So coming to the point now, what exactly is homeschooling? For those 19 of you who want to know, homeschooling is not replicating the school system at home. Okay, homeschooling is not just changing the venue from this school in this place to your house. That is not what homeschooling is. If you want to replicate everything that happens in the school in your house, then you're setting yourself up for disaster, because you do not have the resources that the school has to do what they are doing, and you don't even want to do that in the first place. If that's what you wanted to do, then send your child to school. Okay, so that's not what homeschooling is. Homeschooling is living out God's purpose for your entire household through your family life and the education of your children. Your entire household is going to get affected very deeply by this decision to homeschool. There is no person in your house, no relationship, no thing that happens that is going to remain unaffected by it. Anybody who has children will know, if you have children in the house is very different from a house that does not have children in it. Right? So it's going to impact your entire household. For us, for example, my grandmother came to live with us when she was 87. She's now 91. She has dementia. When she could, for the first few years, she was seated at our dining table where our children studied. And I used to always tell her, you are the principal of this homeschool. She would sit there and read her Bible, and they would sit there and do their work. And she was as much impacted by their presence as they were impacted by her presence. There is nobody, no matter how weak and vulnerable in your home, all our employees, everybody who works in our home has been deeply impacted by the fact that we homeschool. So it changes the way you function as a family, in your marriage, in your parenting, in your family life, everything that you do. And what we call education, the very narrow understanding of education, is just one part of it. Because your whole life is going to be about forming your children. So like Ramya shared, of course, there are many challenges, there are many risks, and I just want to go through some of them with you. First of all, I'll look like a fool in my family and friend circle. Yes, you will look like a fool in your family and friend circle. Please embrace it with joy. If you want to do anything that's crazy, and especially if you want to do it for Jesus, you better be very comfortable looking like a fool. If you're not comfortable looking like a fool, you will not be able to take the next step. Will I be stuck all day at home with my children? This was my very big fear, because I'm a complete extrovert. I love going out. I love meeting people. I love talking to people. I love hanging out anywhere but home. And both my children, though both of them are adopted, are exactly like me. So none of the three of us want to sit in the house all day. Okay, and when my children were going to school, my relationship with my daughter especially was so fraught with the tension of finding the ribbon, buying the chart paper, finishing that page of writing A cursive, why is C cursive not looking as good as A cursive, and all such things. Our relationship was so fraught. Just a 6-year-old child, she was occupied with school going things from 9:30 in the morning to 6:30 in the evening, like an adult for 9 hours a day. Her life was only about school related things. And my relationship with her was only about getting her ready for school and getting her back from school and getting her back to school the next day. So I was very worried at that time, what will I do with her if I'm going to be stuck with her the whole day? I'm actually using the word stuck, and I felt so guilty about it because I prayed for 12 and a half years for this child, and now I was feeling like I don't want to be with her the whole day. Please somebody save me. Okay, and what I found from my experiences is just getting her out of school and being with her changed our relationship completely. Once school was out of our relationship became so much better. And I think both my kids can say that they really have a good relationship with me. They do not love me every day, but most of the days they love me. Okay, what if I can't do justice to my children? What if I don't do a good enough job? The Catholic Church teaches us that on the day you got married, God gave you every grace you needed to care for the children that were not yet conceived. Our sacrament, our marriage, our parenting is an act of receiving God's grace. It is not an act of putting effort from our side. It is an act of receiving God's grace and cooperating with His plan and acting on His agendas. So if you're going to rely on your own abilities, it's not going to work. Why not rely on my father's abilities? Because he has so many more abilities than I do. Why not rely on his resources? Because he has so many resources than I do. So much more to give my children than I do. I'm just a channel. What if my children don't like it? They don't like homeschooling. Very early in our homeschooling journey, even before my granny came here, one early morning on a Thursday morning, I took both my kids to my grandmother's house where she used to live. And it was 7 o'clock in the morning. We had all packed up our food and all, and we were going with our nice bags down to wait for the car. And there was a school child waiting, sleepy-eyed, alone, waiting for a school bus. And as we got into the car, I saw Lucas and her having an exchange non-verbally. She's asking him, "Where are you going?" And he's saying, she said, "No school." He said, "No, we are homeschooling." It was a new word for him, so he used it very happily. And her face was like, "You don't have to go to school on a Thursday morning. Like, what is this?" So, to my experience in the last 5 years, not once have my children said, "Mama, I want to go to school." Yeah. But I have met many children who ask their parents, "Mama, why I can't be like her? Why I can't be like him?" So my children like it very much. That's got nothing to do with me or our home or our family. The fact of the matter is, if you create your life, you create your environment in a way that gives your children the best life, then that is what they will want, obviously. Okay, how will I work, earn, and educate them too is a very valid concern. For me, it works because my husband is the sole earner of our family, and I am the one who spends the money, does not earn it. But there are families who have single mothers who are working from home, who homeschool. There are families who have both parents working, and the grandmother is the one who creates that home environment, but both parents are involved in the homeschooling. There are families where those two parents are working outside of the home. There are families where both parents are working from the home. They're running a business from the home and they are still homeschooling. So whatever situation you're in, if you discern that this is God's will for you, this is what God wants for you, He will make it happen. Okay, it is possible. The pandemic has taught us this at least. There are 100 different possibilities when it comes to working and earning money. Okay, will my children be equipped for college and the world after homeschool? Of course, everybody wants to know this. Very frankly, all the homeschooling adults, that is those who have been homeschooled all their life and became adults, that I have met are fantastic examples, fantastic output of what a homeschooling family can do. And I'm very, very encouraged by their witness, by their example for my children, and I'm excited about what my children are going to turn out like. I really believe Romans 12:2 that God asks us not to conform to the standards of the world, but let our minds be transformed so that we may discern what is God's best will for us. If we are agreeing with God that we do not want to conform to the world, we really want to transform ourselves to your agendas, our children will be fit not just for college and for the world. They will be leaders in the college. They will be leaders in the world, impacting and influencing the world for God, for His kingdom. We do not want to keep our children away from the world. We want to teach our children and ourselves to live in this world, but not to belong to this world, because we do not belong to the world. We are citizens of heaven. So we want to interact with the world, but we don't want to be attached and entangled and absorbed and sold out to the world's agendas. We have to walk that fine line every day as disciples ourselves, and we have to teach our children how to walk that fine tightrope every day as children. It's not easy, but that's the call. That's the work that we're supposed to do as disciples. So will my children learn to socialize and get along with others? The church teaches us that the home is a natural environment to teach, what were those words? Solidarity and communal responsibilities. The home is a natural environment to teach solidarity and communal responsibilities. Because all of us have grown up in a school system, we're just so used to the idea that the only place children meet other children is school. That's an artificial creation in a post-industrial world. Till the industrial age, till factories were begun, there was no such thing as school. Everybody went with their parents to work in the field, and they came back home and they worked with their parents in the home, and they functioned as a community. Nobody went to some separate school except for religious education. So children have to learn to socialize in their families, in their building, in their community, in the society where they live in, not in the school. That is an artificial construction. The natural world, the real world, is a real place where they have to learn to socialize. So homeschooling doesn't mean you sit with your children whole day in the house. It does not mean that. Okay. Then which syllabus do I follow? There are lots of syllabuses available, curricula available. There are lots of Christian curricula. There are lots of Catholic curricula. You have to do a lot of research to figure out which one works for you. In spite of being from the education sector, I really just went with my gut, and the first one that I found made sense to me, and I'll tell you why. How do I teach the subjects that I myself am not good at? I'm not good at maths at all. I always scored above 80% in all my years in maths, but I hated it with all my heart, even though I have a very nice maths teacher, and I have no intention of ever using maths in my life. But I want my daughter to learn maths for real, though she hates it as much, to learn maths for her real life. So she never, like I have to go ask my husband all the time for calculations. She never has to ask anybody. She can do it on her own. Okay, so how do I teach the subjects I myself am not good at? We figured out that using Robinson curriculum solves that problem, because nobody has to teach anybody anything. It is a self-learning curriculum. What I do is teach my children the skills of how to learn something, and then they learn how to learn something, and then they can learn anything. So instead of teaching them information number 1, knowledge number 2, I'm just teaching them one skill with which they can learn everything. So I'm not teaching them anything except how to learn and guiding their maturity in that process. Okay, what about exams? The curriculum that we use, Robinson, has testing at the end of every chapter. So you cannot move to chapter number 2 unless you have got less than 2 wrong in chapter number 1, which means you cannot move to the next chapter unless you have done excellently well in the previous chapter. That is so much better than school, because I did more than 80% in all maths all my life, and I know nothing. But my daughter is actually learning every concept thoroughly well before she moves to the next concept. So she is actually learning the maths that she is learning for life, not to get her marks somewhere, not to get a certificate. I have all the certificates. What's the use of them? I don't like maths. I don't want to use it. Okay. So what are the rewards? A big reward is to rely wholly on God to lead us. It is such an adventure. It is such a delight to know that God is leading us, that headache is off my head. I just have to follow Jesus. Okay? I don't have to have my entire life figured out. I don't have to have my children's entire life figured out. I just have to follow Jesus. That's all I'm called to do. We have to live out our godly call to parenting our children. I waited for these children for so long, and I'm so happy to be a mother. I never thought in a million years that I'll be happy to be a housewife and a stay-at-home mom and a homeschooling mom. I never thought of myself like that. But I'm happy to do that because I am living out God's call for me, which took me many years to understand what was God's call for me. In doing homeschooling, you will have to revamp your marriage, your home, your family systems, your processes, everything that happens in your home to align with God's will for us. There is nothing that can remain untouched. To Him who by the power at work within us is able to accomplish abundantly far more than all we can ask or imagine. To him is all the glory. The power at work in us, the Holy Spirit we received in our baptism, is the same power that brought a dead Jesus to life. That power resides within me. That power resides within you. And that Holy Spirit within us is able to accomplish far more than we can conceive of in our minds. It is not possible for our minds to go that far. I just want to share with you some challenges and some wonderful rewards of taking this plunge for us. I don't want to share with you what has gone well in our homeschooling because that might excite you and not give you the real picture. I want to share with you what we have struggled with and how God has worked in that. So my daughter, like I told you, does not like maths. She's not genetically related to me, so it's not my fault, but she does not like maths. So we took 19 months to get through the first Saxon math book with her. Okay, it should take 10 to 12 months. It took us, SME, 19 months. But as soon as we finished that book, she really struggled with it was the first time for both of us, with how to do it, with staying on course with her integrity, because the child herself has to correct her paper. The child herself has to figure out whether she's got 2 wrong or 3 wrong and then decide whether to cheat or go to the next chapter. So with all that back and forth, it took her 19 months. But as soon as she finished that book, she rushed to get the next Saxon math book. And that showed me that the process has worked. At the end of doing that book, it's not just that she learned that maths well, it's that she is excited about moving ahead with maths, even though she doesn't like it. That is a huge win. This year, she finished Saxon 6.5 in 10 months. We started in June, she ended in March. Okay, and see her face, she's just glowing with joy because she has persevered through doing something which she does not like to do. Now in the school system, what happens is the things you do well at, you do very well at. The things you do bad at, you do badly at. And you're like, okay, I just don't like athletics. I just don't like this thing. I just linked it. I'm not that kind of kid. Those are the bright kids. I am the stupid kid. Or those are the athletic kids. I am the not athletic kid. But in homeschooling, you have the opportunity to help your child to do everything to the best of their ability, to the best of their life, their possibilities. It's not based on anybody else's. There's nobody to label anybody and nobody to tell your child what they're good or bad at. Okay, so we want to help them to do the best. So our win for Esther has been she can enjoy maths and the persevering through it. And she can learn maths in that way. What Esther loves is reading. This is our new set of Robinson books. Every time we get them, there is huge delight and squealing in our house. I made a happy mistake when she was a child, when she was going to toddler's preschool, when she got her first ABCD books. I got them into my hands and I was like squealing with happiness. And my joy was my daughter has become so big, like she's got books. But she understood it as books are a very fun thing. And I saw her face and I was like, yes, let's go for it. And every time we got new books, I would be like celebrating like we got some cake or something. Okay, and that really is very addictive and very, she caught it, it's very contagious. And she really caught that excitement about books. So she loves reading. You never have to tell Esther to read anything. You have to tell Esther all the time not to read something. My son, on the other hand, does not like reading. When he began, his whole demeanor was like this, as you can see in the snap. Oh my God, this mother of mine and this sister of mine are always reading, and so I also have to read now. Okay, he does not like reading. And slowly, showing him the Robinson way, both Esther and I helped him to actually enjoy imagining the scene of what he is reading. And then he began enjoying reading for leisure. So he used to read when they still read when they eat. I keep telling them, please keep your books away and focus on your food. We have no screens in our house, so the TV is not an option. Then they started learning how to read in other languages, in Hindi and Marathi. And they enjoy the Pratham books because they're so colorful and the stories are so amazing. And now Lucas, who does not like reading, has gotten to a point that even if I take him to somebody else's house, I have to meet the adult for something. That child, that woman's child, was supposed to be doing his homework, but he was stuck on his phone. His mother was inside. And my son, who was supposed to be homeschooling, was opened his book immediately to read his homeschooling book in her house. Okay, that is how much he enjoys reading now. So it's a huge win for us that our children are able to do the things that they started out thinking, ye mere se hoega hi nahi. That's what they are doing well. Okay, there are some some reasons, however, that you should not, if this is true for you, I would suggest from my experience, very limited experience, that you should not homeschool. Okay, and I'm coming at this from what is best for the child. What is best for the child? That is our concern. Okay, so first is, if there is no home to speak of. Okay, if there is no adult in the house making that house a home, it need not be the mother only, it could be the father, it could be a grandparent, but if there's nobody in that house, then you cannot leave a child alone with online school laptop or a TV or a mobile or a tuition teacher and expect that to be called homeschooling. That is not homeschooling, because it's just a very device friendly version of what happens in school. Okay, you need a home to have homeschooling. That home environment is what creates your homeschool, not the book, not the curriculum. So for most children in India, home is not a realistic idea, because houses are small, parents have to go out of the house to work, even mothers with small infants are in the train selling things. So home is something that we have to create. And if it is not available at this time for whatever reason, I would not suggest that you keep your child at home to educate them. Secondly is, if one or both the parents are mentally, emotionally or spiritually very ill, and willy-nilly they are creating an unsafe environment at home. It's not a nice thing to bring up, but if a parent is abusive, home should be the last place a child should be. School then becomes a safe place for that child, and I would strongly advise any parent who has an abusive spouse to put your child in school, so they will have those hours away from that toxic environment, which is out of the child's control and maybe out of your control also. Okay, when homeschooling will add to and will not fix a bigger ongoing issue in the family. Homeschooling is not a magic wand that will fix other things, like if your marriage is on the rocks, or if there are bigger health concerns, there are something else going on in the family, then just by taking the children out of school, it's not going to fix that bigger problem. Okay, so homeschooling is not a magic wand. When the child is an only child at home and there are no other children to grow up with in the neighborhood, in the family, extended family, in the community, if that child's life is going to be devoid of any other children for whatever reason, then that's not a good idea. That's not the best way for a child to grow. Okay? And unpopular opinion, but when both parents cannot agree on the decision to homeschool, it's best not to homeschool, because you do not want somebody fighting you every step of the way. You might reach a compromise and say, okay, let's try this for 1 year and then we can go back to schooling, but you do not want to be fighting your spouse to homeschool your child, because that is counterproductive to your goal and to your calling as a married parent. Okay, and if other parents, other adults living at home, a grandparent or a full-time live-in maid, anybody is going to contradict your agenda of homeschooling in words or actions, then either you need to get their buy-in properly or tell them to stay out of it. But if they are going to create problems for your homeschooling, then it's not going to work. So either you get their buy-in or tell them to stay out of it. Okay, so coming to what you need to do if you are looking at homeschooling, what decisions do you need to make in order to begin your homeschooling journey? Okay, so the first and most important thing is understanding why. Why do I want to even consider this? Why do I want to get my child out of school? Why do I want to homeschool? Just because it has worked for that family and this family is not a good enough reason. What is your reason? You know, articulate it in as much as detail as you can. So I just want to show you this management image. So the vision of whatever is what supports the rest of it. If you have a clear vision, everything else is built up on top of that vision. If you do not have a reason, you do not have a vision of what you're doing, why you're doing that, then you cannot support the rest of it. Okay, so if you have a vision, then you can build the structure, then you can decide who's going to do what job in that, what are the leadership roles we are going to take. You're going to decide the culture of your home. For example, the culture of our home is we do not use devices unless it is absolutely necessary, like for example, a Zoom call. Okay, then you can devise a strategy, how slow, how fast, what do you want to start with, what do you want to then proceed to. Then last comes the curricula. Don't jump straight to decide, I want this curricula right now. First, think through the whole process. Why do you want to do this? What are the resources you have to do this? Who are the people who are going to support you to do this? What is the kind of home environment you want to build? How are you going to strategize to get there? And then decide which curricula best fits all of these things. And then you will see fruit. If you just decide the easy way out, I will get out of SSC and I will get into IGCC or into Robinson or something else, you have not done the hard work, and that thing will crumble because there is nothing at the bottom to support it. Okay, so think about the why very seriously. Think about how you will involve your children in this decision-making process. So my children were very small. I just asked Esther, from June, instead of going by school bus to school, if I teach you at home, will you be okay with it? Ah, yes, Mama. Bus, that is enough. She was only 6 years old. Okay, but if your children are older, obviously you will have to have a thorough discussion with them. You'll have to weigh the pros and cons with them. You'll have to have their buy-in to this whole adventure. Then, which one of us as parents or both of us will be leading the homeschooling journey? What are the roles we will do? How will we keep making changes? So initially, my husband's only role was to print everything and pay for everything. But as we progress, he has more and more of a optimum role to play in this journey. Okay, then how will we explain our decision to family members and society? Articulate a party line, because everywhere you go, your children will be asked, what is your name, Baba? Then nobody will remember the name. Then which school you go to? That is a very important question the whole society wants to know. So articulate a party line for them to say and for you also to say. So my children just say we homeschool, then they look at me like, please, now you answer all the 100 questions. But what I begin with is we are part of a Catholic homeschooling community, which is all over India. A lot of people in the South, a lot of people in Goa, and fewer people in Bombay. When I say we're part of a community, everybody shuts up because they're like, okay, she's not some mad fool doing this on her own. There are many people doing it with her. Okay, then how much money do we want to reserve per month for our homeschooling? You decide whether you want to spend 500 rupees or 5,000 rupees. It's your choice. So you can decide how much money you want to spend on everything, on the outdoor activities, indoor, music classes, whatever you want to invest in. Okay, what are our immediate, our midterm and our long-term goals for each child's education? Esther separate, Luke is separate. What are the long-term goals? What are the midterm goals? And what are immediately what I have to do right now? Okay, think through all these things first before you get anywhere close to the curriculum. This is important. This is what we are called to do as parents. This is the hard work. Okay, maybe nobody taught us how to do it, but let's start. Then decide what curriculum best suits your family lifestyle, your vision for your family, your goals for your family. So in my head, because I worked in schools and I know what it involves, I was very clear, I am not going to spend the next 12 years of my life sitting with my children with a book and teaching them. That is not my idea. I cannot do that, neither can they. Okay, so I found that Robinson works for us because I am very independent. I need to do 5 things at one time, and my children also are like that. So it gives them the sense of control over their own life and gives me also space to do many other things with my life. And on the actual homeschooling work, their worldly education work, I spend half an hour to 45 minutes maximum in a day on both of them. Okay, but then I have a lot of time to invest in their eternal education. So we spend a lot of time on that, which is what I want to do, which is what I see my calling as. That's because Robinson as a curriculum allows for that. It's designed to be learner, self-learning, not teacher-dependent, learner-dependent. Then who can we reach out to for support on this journey? That I told you there are many people, Catholic parents in the South a lot, in Goa more, and fewer in Bombay, but we are there. Until you start asking, you'll never know that maybe somebody in your building is also there. Okay, there are a lot of us who you can reach out to. How do you get started? Pray, pray, pray. Seek the Lord's perspective for your family and children. If God is calling you to do it, then only please do it, not because you like my presentation. Don't do it because you like my presentation. Okay, do it only because Jesus is calling you to do it. If He is calling you to do it. It's not that it should be for every family. That's not what I'm saying. You have to discern as a parent what is best for your family. It's your job to discern that. I cannot tell you what's best for your family. Okay? Do the legwork, articulate the why, have the tough parenting conversations as a couple, get into the nitty-gritties of what you are doing as parents. Give it time, do not rush into any decision, don't be bogged down by school deadlines to pay fees or to get a leaving certificate or something. Give it time. Even if you're absolutely sure, I would still say give it a week, pray over it every day, ask the Lord to guide you, ask the Lord to show you clearly what He wants you to do. Do not rush into this decision because it is a huge life-changing decision. It is not going to only influence the child's academics, it's going to influence everything in your life. So don't rush into it. Be sure that this is God's will for you. Okay, keep asking questions of yourself, of each other, of your children, and most importantly of God. The whole day today I was asking myself, why am I going to talk today about this? Why? What is the reason? And I had to answer that question honestly for myself. And the honest answer is, if there is just one family out there who can be blessed the way we have been blessed, I want to be a blessing to you. That is the honest answer to that question. So keep asking questions. Questions are very healthy. Talk and visit other homeschooling families. Understanding how it works for another family may help you understand some things about what will work and will not work for your own family. You do not have to copy paste anybody else's family. Your own family is unique. Your own family needs and limitations and resources are unique. And God will give you the grace you need. You don't need to copy anybody else. But by talking to other people, you get some idea of what their challenges are, what their growth has been, what their learning curve has been. Okay, so just a brief of what we do to come down to the nuts and bolts, the basics, so that coming from the ideology and the perspective and the rationale to what exactly we do. When I say I'm homeschooling my children, what do I mean? Okay, the name of our homeschool that the Lord gave me is Joy. It stands for Jesus, others, and you. So when we started, we used to sing that song. I got that joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Then we forgot about it. But Jesus-centered. Our homeschooling is Jesus-centered. It is servant-making, and it is self-developing. I don't want my children to be dependent on me. Okay, and we are using the Robinson self-learning curriculum. Do not copy paste anything of this. This is just to give you an idea of what works for my family, our family. So we wake up really early. Our first 2 hours are with Jesus in personal prayer and mass. If we are not there, it's because one of us is sick. Otherwise, this is what we really aim for. This is the most beautiful time of our day, to be alone with Jesus in the chapel, because very few people are there at 6 o'clock. And to have that silence with Jesus, adoring him, waking up with him, sleeping with him, waking ourselves up again with him, and just being fully present to him, and sharing in the Eucharist together with our parish community. First thing in the morning, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Then we come home, and all of us, everybody in the house, from husband to the full-time live-in, everybody has chores. We have breakfast, we connect with each other, catch up on what's the day looking like, what we need to do. My children get this time with their father before he leaves for work, which they would not have got if they were in school. And if they were in school, he would come back when it's time for them to sleep, and they would be gone when he gets up. But we make this work, so we only have to work around Selby's schedule. Everybody else is flexible. Then from 10 to 1, we focus on academics, serious, everybody at the table and working. I'm also doing my thing. 1:30 to 2:30, we the last few years we've been doing Bible in a year every day with Father Mike Schmitz, and this year we are doing Catechism in a year every day with Father Mike Schmitz. It's a podcast on YouTube also. We do lunch together. We started watching a Hindi and a Marathi serial together to understand the conversation of how it's spoken, and we seem to be enjoying the serial more than learning the language, but it is a work in progress. Then in the afternoon, all the devices are taken away. In the morning they have devices. If, like, for example, for the serial we need a device, otherwise we don't need. We use a dictionary, we don't use a device for anything. In the afternoon, Esther has more work because the Robinson uses a system where the older children have to put in more hours. So she completes her academics. Lucas may have finished. It's time to read, rest, recreate, really relax. Today I was doing some embroidery. Lucas was trying out some new crafting. Esther was reading. In the evening, I check all their work. We do some Hindi, Marathi together, and we do an evening set of chores, and we go out to do sports, to walk, or for me to catch up on other things, catch up with people, adults. I need to talk to human beings who are adults. So I do that in the evening. And then later in the evening, we have chill, we have family meeting time, or we have dinner together, we have Zoom calls like this. Today, for example, we had a family prayer earlier because it's very late for us. And the last thing we do together is get ready for the next day and have family prayer time. We are lights out by 8:45. So today, since it's late, we have family prayer earlier. Okay. So we structure our day. Now this works for us because I am hyper driven on organization. I cannot function with disorganization. And my children also are like that. So it works for us. It may not work for you. You might want to have a more flexible routine and schedule. You might want to have a more laissez-faire, let's see how it goes kind of thing. If that works for your family, that's what you need to work with. Okay, you don't need to do what I'm doing. The most important thing is this: understand the vision, then look at the structure, then look at who will play what role, what kind of culture you want to create, how you're going to get there, what is the roadmap, what is the strategy. Last thing you need to look at is curriculum and exam system and all that. Those are only tools, okay? And that is what will bear fruit. So this PPT was made by my dearest sister in Christ, Giselle. I only gave her what to do. She did everything, the hard work. I hope this has been of some help for you. I couldn't see most of your faces, so I don't know whether you went to sleep or you're still there. Okay, people are still there, chalo. If you're asleep, wake up now. It's time to talk. So, in school, teacher says, don't talk, don't talk, talk. At home, homeschool, we always say, talk, talk, ask questions, stop, interrupt. When we do Bible in a year, that podcast is for 20 minutes, but our discussion is another 20 minutes. We're stopping in the middle again and again to ask different meanings and different things. We have all sorts of questions, from why is chickpea keto, to if Jesus had said no to God the Father, would he be allowed back in heaven? If he said no to dying on the cross, would he be allowed back in heaven? All sorts of questions are welcome. Okay, so now is the time for questions and interaction. Sharu will have that host that for us, and I will drink some water. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Adele. I think all of us, we can give a little heart to Adele. Go to your reaction button and just put a heart for Adele. She's put in so much of her, so much of an effort, and more above everything, I think she's put in a lot of love into this presentation. And she shared her life, really, her homeschooling journey with each of us. So let's ask questions. I'm sure all of us, we have a lot of questions we want to ask. We don't have too much of time, because I think we should keep to time. We can probably take 5 minutes, actually only 2 minutes, but let's take 5 minutes of questions, and we will be doing this in the future. So that if you have any specific questions, then we can answer that. In the meanwhile, I'm just going to send a message on the chat. If you can just check that. You have my name and my number. Please, could you take that down so that we can create a group? We will have your contacts, and we can let you know, keep you updated about the future programs. Okay, and also we can probably connect you with other Catholic homeschoolers in your vicinity if there are anybody there. So although you're continuing to chat, I hope you've seen my message. My name and my number is there, and please take that down, because I'm not sure how you received this link. Nobody really knows. I mean, I think it's just gone out like wildfire, and we had close to 75 people joining in today, which is phenomenal. I thought we were expecting about 10, this evening, Adele and I, we were saying that maybe 10, 20 people might come in, but it's amazing what the Lord is doing, truly. Okay, all right. So any questions? Maybe we can take about 2-3 questions, and the rest of it, we will handle it maybe in another week. So please raise your hands, and Adele will pick whoever, and then we can get that answered.
Yeah, Emma, please go ahead with your question.
Just if you could share those main slides on writing out the vision, mission, and the purposes that Adele was showing us. If you could share the presentation, it would help us a lot, if that's possible.
Sure, I think that is possible.
The link, the video will also be available, right?
Yes.
So
the recording will be. Jose, is it possible for us to upload it on Happy Families?
We can do it on the Happy Families, and you can share the link. So whoever has contacted the source of this invite will have to get back to them, because we do not know where all you have got the invite from. So I will upload it on our YouTube channel, Happy Families YouTube channel. Then share the link with Adele and Sharu and few of Joby, few of them, and then from there it can be dispersed to the rest of the people.
Thank you so much.
We don't have time to go on, so please raise your hand and quickly. Okay, here's someone.
Somebody has said, would like to know the name of that school in Bangalore for the 10th. So this is Akshay International. Is it Ramya?
It's Akash International. Akash.
Yeah, sorry, Akash International. That is where the child can be enrolled to write the exam for the Cambridge syllabus. Thank you. what measure to be taken for a single child in homeschooling? Wanted to answer?
Yes, so if you can find ways for your child to meet other children, to play with them, to learn with them, to do some group sessions with them in some other way, then I would say go for homeschooling. No issue. Then you just follow the process of discernment like everyone else. But if for whatever reason you're in a locality where that is not possible, then I think it would be best to send your child to school to grow up with the other children. Because for a child to grow up without any interaction with any other child is not a healthy way to grow up.
Jose, can you, I think someone has asked, yes, okay. So that's the Happy Families Catholic Ministries Bangalore. You'll find the YouTube channel and this video will be uploaded there. So you can refer this video again for later.
Yeah, Mariam, you wanted to ask your question?
Adele, at any point of time, 11 and a half years, you said you've been helping your children. So at any point of time, had you had to pause your, studying process? I mean, the curriculum process.
Yeah. So 11 and a half years, my daughter is 11 and a half years. I've been a mother for 11 and a half years. 5 years we've been homeschooling, but very good question. So our homeschool does not stop because I'm sick. I'm sick a lot, unfortunately. Homeschool does not stop because it's not dependent on me. It's a self-learning curriculum. But when we decide something else is more important, like for example, preparing for Advent is more important, or caring for my grandmother is more important, or going for a retreat is more important, then we pause it. But that's totally within our control. I have trained both my children, even when they have a common cold or light fever, to continue with their work. So there's no reason really, unless you decide some reason is a good enough reason. So I haven't come across any like life shattering things. In fact, during the pandemic, the whole pandemic, we homeschooled. We had no loss in learning. We had no learning deficit, no slowdown, nothing. Everything went on fine for us, except that they didn't do outdoor sports. That was the only thing they really missed. In the house, everything was just work as usual. We worked throughout the second wave completely without any stopping, and they did it.
Okay, thank you, Mariam. Another question is, I have 3 kids, but no other opportunity to meet other kids. It's okay for me to opt for homeschooling then?
Yes, why not? I don't know where you live, but there will be other children around wherever you live. So the reason it's good for our children to interact with other children is because they shouldn't think that our home is the only, this is the only world, okay? Like they should know the real world, they should know other kinds of families, they should interact with people who are different from us in different ways, different families are structured differently, families have different faiths. So it's good for them to interact with other people, but I don't know where you live, in some remote place, or if you're in a city, you can find lots of opportunity to meet people.
And also you can connect with rest of us. We will be able to help you to get connect with people in your locality. There are more Catholic homeschoolers. And the next question, how can I get more information about Robinson self-learning curriculum? Also, is it available in India?
Yes, it's available online in India. You can connect with Charu or me. Both of us have access and can help you.
Yeah.
I have one question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Hi, good evening. Praise the Lord. There is an argument about the overall personality development of the child, public speaking skills, and facing a crowd, going up on stage. So, how will we be able to compensate for these factors if the child is homeschooled?
So the confidence that you need on stage comes from within. Okay, an introverted child is going to remain an introverted child even if you push him on stage 10 times. And an extroverted child is going to be very comfortable holding the crowd, wherever he or she is. So you have to respect your child's inherent temperament and personality and give your child the best opportunities. If you're Catholic and you're in a parish environment, there are lots of opportunities in parishes. This is really a problem for people who have no other sense of community in an urban world. But as Catholics, we cannot say that we don't have opportunities to participate in community kind of events or things like that.
And you get also opportunities for extracurricular activities where you can engage your child with. So that way you can, compensate what you miss in the physical school. So that is one way of looking at it. In no way they will miss the kind of action that they would get from the school because they are homeschooled. In fact, just to share an example, when our children were going to school, nobody knew us in our apartment we were living. 6 months into their homeschooling, the entire apartment came to know about that we are the parents of Anna and Maria. So that is the kind of difference that were brought in within 6 months of their homeschooling. So don't worry about, these are all the unwanted messages that comes into our mind. I think this can all be rectified as we boldly take the step for homeschooling. So thank you. I'm just going ahead with another question. Next question: do we have to register with Akash from the very beginning, or just when our kids are ready for 10th? Ramya?
You only have to register when you're ready for the 10th. You don't have to register from the beginning. And if you're going through life school, I think there is a small discount also that you get through.
Okay. Thank you, Ramya. Next question from Maria: do you homeschool 5 days or 6 days a week? Do you have a routine for Saturday, or is it a free day? Somebody, Shahrukh can probably.
Yeah, so the Robinson curriculum has a suggestion or a directive for this, that you homeschool 6 days a week. As you do the academic part of the curricula, 6 days a week. Only Sunday is the day of the Lord, and throughout the year. So actually, even if we, like what we do in our family is, we do not take the public holidays that the school takes. So just because it's Ram Navami or some Pasi New Year, we don't take holiday. So we work all those days. We take holiday when we need to take holiday, like we need to go somewhere for something which we think is important. So we end up working for around 100 days more than the school does.
Okay, great.
Okay,
Thanks.
at much less the cost, but it's your choice. That's the point.
So we have the flexibility of scheduling your own, you're drawing up your own schedule. That is the advantage of homeschooling. So today, if the children decides they don't want to study, it's a break day for them. So, that kind of flexibility is there when you do homeschooling. Next question: it would be great help if the group could share study material for first standard child and some suggestion for overall support. That is too much of a planning, I guess. Adele, you wanted to address?
Yeah, whoever asked that question, let's talk one-on-one and I'll take you through the steps one-on-one.
So you can connect with Adele, Florence, and then we can discuss more. Next question is, please send me contact help for Mumbai and also Robinson syllabus. Adele is a point of contact, and she can share more about the homeschool Robinson curriculum. Is there a group in Qatar? Ramya, do you know about that?
Yes, there were I think this year we had people who wrote from Qatar, and those who want, if they connect to us, we will give you the details of those who were already doing it there.
Okay. Is there a group in Kerala? I guess it is. Ramya
there are homeschoolers in Kerala also.
Okay. In Abu Dhabi?
Not sure, but then I can check.
Yeah. Are we forgetting parish community child with are we forgetting parish community child will certainly mingle? I'm not able to understand that question. Okay.
I think it's an answer to where the child will meet people.
What board will the child appear in class 10? Will the child be tested before exams? Adele, you wanted to address that?
Yes, so if your child is small, don't worry about 10th at all. Please relax. There is much more to life than 10th standard exams, believe me. Okay, so don't worry, that's the last thing. If your child is in 8th, 9th, 10th, then you need to be a little alert about, because it's coming soon. Okay, but if your child is much younger, let your child really learn for life. And then as they are older, you see their abilities, you see their personality, you see their drive, you see what they want to aim for, what are their natural pluses, what kind of further education they want to opt for, and then work backwards and decide the college that they would need to apply for, and therefore what board they would need to study for. Okay, so don't decide the board just because this is the best board. Decide what is best for your child. So let the child grow a little and enjoy their childhood, and the child is growing still. So let the child grow and then discern what is best, rather than deciding at age 6 that my child will do this board only. Don't do that.
Yeah. Somebody also written NIOS Delhi board exams can be given in class 10. That is a good option. Adele, would you please share your and kids Sunday routine? Okay.
Can I just intervene over here? See, today's meeting is only an orientation towards homeschooling, what it is, should we be doing it, just trying to help in the whole discernment process as well. Okay, but I think if we get into the questions of what board and how the curriculum goes, I think we will not be able to finish today. So we'll park those questions for now, and we will take it in our next meeting, which is why it's very, very important for you to share your number on the number that I have shared, 9686681392. And my name is Sharu. Please connect with me. And then what we will do is, see, we have Catholic homeschoolers. We have a national Catholic homeschoolers group. Okay, so we are connected with people across India. So wherever you are, and then slowly we can go outside of India also, because there are so many people who are doing homeschooling. And like Adele said, there might be someone in your building or very close in your vicinity itself. It's just a matter of time, and we have to connect with each other. That's about it. And generally, people have a lot of questions about curriculum, because I don't think it's generally a little difficult for parents to come out of academics. I have to get academics. We're all so driven by academics alone. And until we realize that the education of our children goes beyond academics, I think we've not yet started the process. Okay, and we've not seen the light of homeschooling. So it's not just to escape from your history teacher or your math teacher or from your rude principal that you're doing homeschooling. And that's something that you have to that we have to understand. There's a larger purpose in this whole thing. Okay, Mariam, one last question.
Yeah, last question from Mariam.
No, so my 2-year-old, so how do I initiate homeschooling for her? Do I start with the school process and then or can I just start off like that as it is? That's the doubt that I have. My 2-year-old, what do I do? My 8-year-old, I'm going to initiate slowly. So what do I do with my 2-year-old in the meantime?
Do what 2-year-olds need to do. They need to play. Play is the work of children. God has designed children to learn through play, not through books. Formal studying has to happen when the motor skills of a child is formed enough, developed enough to hold a pencil. Our business mindedness has pushed that to a 2-year-old. No, they don't need to do anything formal. Okay, let them play. Children learn through playing about the world, about their life, about how things work, about science and maths and everything they learn through playing. So don't do anything with your 2-year-old, let her play. Enjoy her 2-year-oldness, it's going to go away soon.
Our 13-year-old son is also playing, Mariam. Don't worry, continue to play. Okay, I think Sharu, you can close this session.
Yes, but I just want to know, has everyone taken down my number? Please take it down and send me a hi message with your name so that we can connect with you again. Okay, because it's not necessary that you will know the follow-up meeting that's going to come in if you're not connected with us. We really don't know how you received the link. So please stay in touch with us, and we will keep you posted about the next orientation or the next meeting that will be held. So thank you very much, Adele, Giselle.
Can we do a closing prayer, please?
Yes. Why don't
let's all pray. Come. Father God, we just thank you so much for everything you have laid on each of our hearts today. Whatever you are stirring up in our spirit, in our minds, in our relationships, we just surrender to you, Jesus. Take full control. We are yours. Our marriages are yours. Our children are yours. Our families are yours, Jesus. Come, Holy Spirit, and take full control. We give our lives to you. We want to follow you all the days of our life for all eternity. We ask this in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
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 The recording also will be available on Happy Families, Catholic Ministries on YouTube. All right, so thank you very much, and it was lovely to have all of you join this evening. We shall meet soon, God willing. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
God
you
bless
very much,
everyone.
Adele. Just to make just a second, it was a beautiful presentation. I am homeschooling my children, and I sat with rapt attention throughout the program. Thank you so much for that beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adele. Thank you very much.
Ramya, will you stop the recording? And I think, Jose, you want to just help her with how to. Ramya, do you need help with Apu? Just hang on, Ramya.